Stray Kids Hot MEGAVERSE. Welcome to the Stray Kids Hot MEGAVERSE.
Everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're taking a look at Stray Kids MEGAVERSE dance practice video. It appears that it is based in a concert or something like that and not in the usual studio space. So I'm very intrigued by this. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a look. Extra pull of the chest into that part.
Welcome to the Stray Kids Hot MEGAVERSE.
Hey!
Welcome to the Stray Kids Hot MEGAVERSE.
I like that build up with the ponies. That was a good choice. Nice. That felt much better. This breakdown, I really like that boom, boom, boom. That triple was cool. Boom. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was nice. Ooh. Love that. A little bit of guada guada. That was a cool ending. Also, thank you. Much appreciated. This was a one take. Always a fan. I do prefer one takes over multiple cuts. And especially because I'm not as familiar with Stray Kids as I am with other K-pop groups. I feel that I would naturally be more sensitive if they did cuts in theirs, or I wouldn't be as understanding of their cuts in theirs in comparison to other groups that I may experience the same thing. So at this point in time, because I've only seen a limited, I think one other full take of a song, I'm really glad I got to see this as a one take, like I've already mentioned. Initial thoughts, I liked this. I liked the breakdown, but my biggest note is it did appear that a lot of their movement was muted. So what I mean by that is it's coming across like they're marking through it. And I know this is a dance practice, and I think there is some grace to be integrated in a dance practice or over a choreography concept video or things like that. But it is not something that I can just ignore or bypass. It's something to note. It's not a critique, but just an observation. So from the top here, how they set it up. I love the energy, boom, da-da-da-doom, dropping it down, having your first feature. I do like the fact that we have our features that are in the bibs, I think is what those called, or the, yeah, to where we can see their names. So I think this is a really good reference for those who do the K-pop group covers. This would be an ideal situation to where it's very easy to track and find who your individual person you represent. This is a really fun way to do that and showcase that. The build up, dropping it down, nice to see the feature. He responded his movement by pushing it up and everybody else stayed lower. So I enjoyed that. Downside of the fixed point is a lot of times some of these, I feel like some of these formations or visuals would have appeared more pleasing and aesthetically enhanced if it was an aerial shot over just a plain frontal shot. So that would be my one note in that regard as well. But I love the pull, like just the energy, boom, da-da-da-doom, da-da-da-doom, then the peel out, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Really great on the sound there, having your Stray Kids here, making sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. So it's nice to see them. Great way to have a circle. They all pan down, having your feature now just facing the front, and peels it, initiates it to have everybody pan back out. That was a really nice choice he chose to do. If you notice, he maintained being the feature, not just because he was in the center, but because he utilized his arm upward, creating a puppeting moment to control, not puppeting, but like just controlling those around him. So it's always a good choice when a feature chooses to do that. Hitting it around, boom, da-da-da-doom, then they bring it through. Notice that a lot of their grooves, and I'm speaking more on the backup dancers especially as well, that a lot of the movement, there's not a huge engagement of the torso. It really feels like every movement is just placed like a run through. It doesn't feel like we're going for it with the type of adrenaline you would normally see whenever they would perform something like this live. So that would be something that I've observed here. Yeah, so because a lot of their energy, I think one of them catches my eye in particular, this guy right here, Sung Min. It really feels that a lot of his movement, he's just kind of pushing with the arms, but not utilizing the back or the core as much. Once again, none of these things are critiques. These are just observations, and also remember it's a dance practice video, and I appreciate the fact that we get to appreciate choreography. If however we don't, I know there's a music video for this, so maybe it's more intense or enhanced there, but I do feel like we're just seeing the choreo and it doesn't feel like there's any, at this point in time, being very honest, it doesn't feel that there is as much emotional investment in this run through. So I don't feel as emotionally invested as a viewer. I don't feel like I got a lot of seeing Stray Kids in their height is what it feels like. It just feels like a run through, something that they needed to do in rehearsal, things like that. So maybe there's another one out there that's a fixed point of this. This is another example too. If you notice that ball change, notice that not very many of them actually did their ball change. Yeah, the boom, da-da. Normally you see more of an approach and attack whenever they throw arms down to initiate a transition like that, but right there it just kind of felt like they threw it away. There's a lot of throwing away movements, not just from Stray Kids, but from the dancers. So, but I really appreciate the numbers, and honestly, that is probably slightly disappointing because if anything, I would feel that backup dancers would need to carry some of the weight of the responsibility of making the movement more full, unless it is supposed to look that way. If it is supposed to look that way, then we would have a different conversation. I would want to talk to the choreographer, and I would want to be frank and say that because of the type of track this is, I feel like the movement execution is too muted for it's not matching the energy of the track that's being presented. So if anything, I wish that the dancers, I'm really gonna give Stray Kids some slack on this because they're the ones who are the performers in this. They have to modify movement a lot of times. This was really cool. They have to modify movement because they're singing at the same time. So there's a natural element that's integrated with a lot of these movements. However, the dancers, their job is to dance, right? So that I would really highly implore them to really carry the weight of this. And it really feels like they're not. This was cool. I love that moment. It was probably my first moment where I really enjoyed the concept or whatever they were trying to go for was this right here. But notice we're about 45 seconds in. I feel like it's a little too late. We should have had a moment like this a little bit sooner, whether it's through stage presence, through the presenting of the movement or the dynamics itself. So, and I'm not blaming Stray Kids for that. I'm not blaming anybody for that. It's just observations. So, but I really like the fact that he chose to grab one of the dancers' hands and use that to control the other dancers. That was a really cool, interesting choice that we got to see there. Dropping it down, really great transition for him to step down. Sometimes it's tricky when you get somebody in a lift to make them disappear or transition down, especially if you see them, but that was a really nice way to do that. Having everybody peel out with their arms pushed up, and then presenting out, 2, 3. Now this is better. I would say some of our front guys here, they are presenting a little bit fuller, using their back. That's how I can tell. Is when you're just using your arms, that's very different than using your back. Your back covers more range within the move that you're trying to execute, and it makes it look more full, obviously because there's more body parts involved. So I think that's definitely, I'm seeing more of a pickup here, which is what we want to see. Da, 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 da. I like the ponies there. Da, 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 da. Having your transition. I'm going to say this every single time, regardless if you've watched one of my videos or 100 of my videos. Anytime I see a basket run, it needs to be talked about. And hopefully one day I can appreciate creative basket runs or not mention them whenever I see them. But right, today is not that day. So when you notice here, seeing the transition, 3, 6, da, 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 1, 2, 3, 4. Having the basket runs down, I really feel like there was a way we could have continued to build because the pony set a particular energy. The music didn't pull any sound out, so there was no reason for us to have a basket run that equated to sound being pulled out. And it felt like we were kind of dropping the energy, and then when we pulled up, that's when the sound dropped out. That's when we felt that energy represented, but we had that dead space of about 4 counts that I felt like we could have done something there outside of just doing a basket run instead of formation. This was nice. Da, 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 da. Then he speeds it up. That was a really cool, very, not Rickroll way, but it is very deceiving. I think I said that about their last track. So I wonder if that's something that is that Stray Kids is known for in their portfolio, is their deceptive courses or their transitions from their pre-courses to their courses. Because that right there was really cool. Dun, da, da, da. Da, 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 and it just gets faster and faster, and then they break down. Yeah, this part right here, I like that. Dun, dun, dun. That was a really cool moment when you hear this boom and you hear that really chill, that chill. Dun, da, 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 da. I think there was a producer called Cheshire Cat, I think, or Cheshire, or something like that, that did, there's this, the first time I had heard that sound, of course, they're not the only person that did it, but they were the first producer that I heard use that sound before. I love that sound. It's so intriguing, and I really like it. I just feel that there is a lot of messiness happening on these back corners. I am always willing to be gracious to the ones who are singing. I am not as gracious, however, to the dancers as much as some people may be, because it's your job. You know, it's for me, if I was a choreographer and I was seeing dancers execute in this way, making mistakes, not everybody rotating their head the same amount, especially as an isolation, when you're having more of a speed change and you're having a hinging hold, or kind of that what's it called? This anticipation breath before you drop into something, doing an isolation into it is not as energy pulling as popping off using your legs or jumping. So I really don't, regardless if it's a one take, it's impressive that it's a one take, but it's still, there is a lot of mistakes happening on these outsides with that boom, boom, boom over. That was nice, but then they pull it through. Some people are just, we're not on the same page in what we're doing with our hands. It could be because of the turnaround, something of the nature, because they just did La La La, and this one's also released. They're 2 very different choreographies. So seeing them, you know, it's a very different pocket. I don't know how many of these people are contracted, how many of them work with Stray Kids, but it's not as organized as I feel like it needs to be for what kind of rehearsal this is, you know? Yeah, that bunt on a Stray Kids, boom, pop, pop off. This first kind of jumping big energy that we saw there. But even when you notice here, even some of these dancers, man, I sometimes I do feel bad about being honest, but I do feel like that's really important. A lot of you follow me because I'm honest about these things. Do I think that this takes away from Stray Kids as a group? No, it doesn't take away from their success and how well I think they are as a group. And remember, I do a very limited experience, and this doesn't make me view them negatively. I just feel like there was either a turnaround time issue or there was just a proficiency of, I don't feel like they're super prepared for this. And I don't know if it's I'm not going to blame them because there's so many moving gears and so many missing parts, or there's so many pieces of a puzzle that's always within these things. So I understand that, but it doesn't take away the fact that we have to talk about it. You know, I'm hopeful that maybe if there's another video of this, that it does appear a little bit different, because right now this is a little disappointing in at least with the dancers executing this. It just feels very marked. Notice they're not engaging in their lower half nearly at all. They're sometimes engaging, but it doesn't feel very full in the lower half. It feels very disconnected from the energy of the bases that are supposed to be happening. Like, we have one of our dancers, he's really going for it in that upper body, but those around him are really not giving that energy that needs to happen. So if you go back and you take a look, just watch. Do you see what I'm talking about? Like, one of them's really using his legato, but then other ones who are nearing towards that back are not. And so I feel that we could have factored that in a little bit better. I love that. That was another nice little energy moment, but so far I've only read for probably 2 or 3 moments, and we're 1 minute and 26 seconds in. So they pull away nice and slow. I like this dynamic shift. That was nice. I feel like that dynamic shift that we happened the time before this one felt a little bit underwhelming compared to the drastic change here. I really love them taking a more speed change approach, being more chill, but notice we're still having some basic issues, like with the angle of the body. Some people are angling more to the diagonal, some are straight side. Those little details do factor in, regardless if you're wearing black. You can still see it because of the background. So I feel that I think this one's a little bit more cleaned up in comparison to that first little thing. But if you notice though, that slide through is nice. That was nice to see. This ponies is where we really get to see more of a unified front, which I really like. That builds up really well. Da 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 da. But notice a lot of them didn't finish that second pony with the leg out and back in, pulling it through, sliding through, dropping down. Da 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 da. Transition. It's nice to have this moment of being super chill, but one of our guys is a little too early, and because of a lot of mistakes that I've been seeing up until this point, normally that wouldn't I wouldn't overlook it, but it wouldn't be as much of a honesty, we shouldn't be doing that, because if they were showing competency in what they were doing up until this point, then I wouldn't be having as many issues with the continued mistakes that we're seeing. With the timing right there, he went a little too early, and because he's in the front, it's very clear to see when those mistakes are happening. I like that da 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 da, and right there was a really nice moment. Right there, that was a great moment. This is a really great match. That boom, that intensity. This feels more militant. It feels more together. And whenever you're dealing with like a military theme, which I don't believe is this, but it's just more like going to battle, regardless if it's like a competitive battle, a war battle, whatever, things like that. Whenever you're presenting more of a competitive unified front, you want your unison, or you want the members that you have and your dancers to all feel in unison in your timing, in your dynamics, in your formations, in your groups. And we haven't seen that it's not pushing as effectively as I think it needs to be for the type of track they're pushing for as a concept. But this could be just isolated in this one video. But this is still the dance practice from Stray Kids. This isn't like some ripped fan cam, This is what Stray Kids posted on their YouTube, So I feel like this would be deemed the official dance practice. So there needs to show some form of, this is what we're going to be bringing you guys, A pull through. I like this, but notice one of our guys, he's way more muted in his movement than I feel like some of the build and the pull, the chest needs to be there. I really enjoy the energy the Stray Kids is bringing there, specifically them pulling up. That's really nice, having that opposition. It really helps frame Stray Kids well, even if they didn't have the bits. That right there was good. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Having your level established by using your hand does help with your framing, of really helping with your levels on multiple fronts. This part's way bigger. It feels way cleaner too. I love that there. Notice how he threw this. He threw it with his back, not with his hand. So it reads bigger, but also the same note. If you're going to do a triple head swing, I don't want it to look like, oh, I see what they were going for. It needs to be, oh, that was really cool that everybody did it and it looks freaking clean and sick. You know, you don't want to make it look like we tried. Yeah, some people feel like they're really over stiffing that, and some are doing it and some are not doing all the rotations. Straight kick. I love this here. Do, 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 do. That was nice right there. Boom. This is really nice. Really great pull there. This is probably my favorite section of the whole thing, honestly, because I really feel like we're really able to see the dynamics more as a group. We get to see the levels and the shifts of the energy and the texture, and I feel like it matches the music the best here out of everything. That boom, pull through. That was cool. Do, 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 do. That pulling that extroverted air, movement going up and hunching over. That was really cool. Seeing them all come up. Now notice some of them are just choosing to do the arms. Some are choosing to do the body roll. Those would be very basic things you would need to clean. Okay, are we doing a body roll or are we doing a hinge over? We need to establish that, especially if everybody's going to be doing a side profile, because here's what happens. How people finish are going to be different. Some people, if they chose to do a body roll, their head's going to be more inclined to shift front, because after you let energy travel, you have to reset it down in order to make that line look more complete. But then if you hinge it, some people choose to keep the line in check. Here are two great examples of this. I think he's the one who body rolled, and I think he's the one who hinged it. So let's actually go back and see if that is really the case. Or yeah, that's pretty much what happened. So that's just from my personal experience. When I do either of those things, that's what my head would want to naturally do. Because if you look, some of them really chose that hinge over really focusing on actually doing this. Yeah, so that's just my note. I really feel like we really didn't focus on cleaning. It could be a time thing, and that's what I'm going to chalk it up to. Please don't take this as I'm completely trashing on this routine. I really think it has a lot of potential, but I don't think it's quite where it needs to be yet for what they're needing to promote it for. Is really how I feel. This feels like a rough draft more so than a dance. Like, it does feel like a dance practice, but it doesn't feel like this is your final run, like you're performing in front of people, really, you know. And I know that they know how to perform. This is just my honest feedback on it, you know. The energy, we hear that tension that we hear. Yeah, and I love the pop, 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 but notice how a lot of the movement before it led up to that felt a little bit more. Yeah, boom, doo 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 doo, boom, doo doo doo, boom, boom. Because they hadn't showcased huge amounts of really full movement. None of their movement that they've done looks full, but some of it is supposed to be full, or whenever you use content like that in choreography, it's normally done in a full way. And so if I would say this too, if the choreography was supposed to be done the way they were doing it right now, then the timing should be significantly cleaner than what we're seeing. But because there's a lot of discrepancies between the intricate ways in which you were supposed to do some of the techniques and some of the transitions and some of the actual unison movement, that's why the range of timing is off. So if you didn't quite know that, it's not just timing of the content of when you hit something, it's how you get there, the timing it takes for your head to move and your head to rotate. That's also part of the cleanliness as well, that a lot of times, because it doesn't have a staccato or doesn't have a definite count, it doesn't mean that that's something to be taken away from in your cleanliness. So that's just my overall note to my dancers, is I really feel like there was either the turnaround time on this, they're stretched too thin. It really feels like a stretched too thin performance for me. But I like the potential of this. I love that surprise framing of using more of a hook action to bring it around back up with the wave through, and they go, boom, bringing it up. No. I love this, how he dropped low. That was a really great moment. It's supposed to build and get more energetic, right? And they're running and we're supposed to have more energy. A nice little guada guada moment, but it does feel a little bit more on the stiffer side, like we're just doing the movement to a level, not really investing our torso into it. Chalk it up to the one take, the throw with a kick through. I feel like some of them are really choosing to promote more energy here. I would say he is the one who's really showcasing the most energy, and he's one of our Stray Kids members. That shouldn't be the case. Our backup dancers should be showcasing really carrying that weight, and they're not. Moving through, sorry, my computer sometimes does that. Okay, but going back, but like looking here, having his energy, pulling through, dropping it down. This right here, this energy was really dope. That was a freaking sick ending. It was, where they go, they turn, and they all have this moment, and they peel it from the back to the front. That was a super, super dope moment, and I really liked how they finished it. That was super sick. I loved it. Unfortunately, that shouldn't be the only thing I liked about the routine. I liked about 4 to 5 things, but it's a 3-minute, 8-second routine, but I only had 4 to 5 moments within that. When you have so many people, that's not what we want, right? I want to at least be able to admire the musicality or admire the dynamics, but because there were so many micro cleaning issues with this, it was hard for me to look past the cleanliness and be able to appreciate the performance, because it didn't feel like they were actually performing it. And that's, and I think that for a dance practice, they get grace for that, However, my dancers don't get as much grace for that as Stray Kids do, because that's their job, is to dance. They're not singing. So I really feel that a lot of you guys who are fans of Stray Kids, please know this doesn't affect, I'm looking at this as objective as I can. This doesn't affect, I don't believe that this speaks on their character and that this speaks on that they don't work hard. No, no, no. For me, it feels like they're working too hard, like to where they're not able to push this where they want it to go because they're so fatigued. Everybody is. Turnaround time is too fast. It feels like something like that is happening, not they're incompetent at what they do. Because most of the time with K-pop groups, I don't feel that way. And I still don't feel that way even watching this, which just shows you how just that one impact that I had with Stray Kids with their previous comeback that I had just seen recently, that speaks volumes of I'm not assuming that they don't know what's going on. I just feel like there wasn't as much prep into this as I feel like was needed. Or if this was a super rough draft, we should have done, we should have better prepped for it if we were going to post it as the official dance practice. So that's my overall note though. All in all, really great potential. Honestly, the track has some really sick drops in it. And I'm hopeful that one of you guys, I'm very much willing to do this too. One of you guys, please let me know if there is another version of this song with them doing a performance like this that can really help me understand the true nature or intention that the dancing to the movement is dancing movement and song are supposed to be connected to, because I really want to appreciate it for what it is. So, but yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I was helpful in some way. I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to be as very happy or very excited to tackle this one in particular. I really feel like there's some outside factors factoring into this in particular, and I really want to know what those things are. If there is another version of this that I need to take a look at, please let me know. I would love to look at it from a different lens outside of just the dance practice, because you already heard my thoughts. I really feel like we're missing a lot of that adrenaline, that presence that a lot of times fans bring to the table that really help showcase what the group has to offer to their fans and to the K-pop realm as a whole, So I definitely want to see that in some way. So if you want to see more K-pop content, you want to see more dance content, I react to so many different types of things. If it's dance related, I'm always open to reacting to it. I'm Jess. Once again, if you want to see those things, you can see it all over YouTube. I have so much of it, probably around 75 to 80 early release reactions on Patreon. A lot of the time that number's only going up, so if you want to check that out, you can, but most of it will show up on YouTube eventually. So I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.